Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final day of the group stages of the ESL UK Premiership. We are ready to get into the only match of the day, the final series between exceL eSports and VergeGG. These guys fought off against each other yesterday. VergeGG came out victorious, but then ended up losing 2-1 to FM in the final of the winners bracket, which means exceL have a chance again to take the best of three and qualify for MCM, as well as Verge being given a saving grace as they have the ability to qualify also. So this is all to play for. The final spot in the MCM finals, which will be later on in May, is up for grabs here.
22nd to 24th, I think?
I believe so. So it's the final spot that is up for grabs here, guys.
Exciting stuff.
And they'll be joining FM, Infused, and Choke Gaming. And obviously,
three big names.
Three big names of UK esports, and obviously this is a very coveted final position. And I think Verge, with the pedigree they have, they will be looking to take that spot. But exceL have had some recent good performances and are probably on the outskirts of just breaking into that top set of teams. So they played. They didn't play very well yesterday. I mean, I think they had a plan. It seemed to work for the first 20 minutes, and then it just crashed incredibly hard. They just need to make sure that they focus on their game plan this time around. And they're immediately going to take Gragas away. SejuaniI isn't banned, and they're going to take Gragas and Shen. So
I'm surprised that we see Verge going straight for the Ari
as
the first pick.
The Orianna hasn't been banned either, so they really want to take, I guess, Ari away from VDS, considering that is one of his most played champions. And they give it to Imbolite, which they know he can perform with.
Oh, definitely.
Now it's up to VDS to pick something that I think he needs to dominate within the mid lane, otherwise Imbolite should be fine, like he always has been. The thing with VDS is he tends to pick these interesting champions in the mid lane that he thinks counters and he thinks could do well with, and then he actually gets a lot of pressure and ends up getting killed earlier. I'd say has happened in both the games between him and Imbolite, when you just shouldn't be allowing Imbolite. A little
bit over-aggressive.
Yeah, being over-aggressive, pushing, overextending a little bit. And he always tends to come back in the mid-game team fights, but you don't want to give Imbolite that edge, because the best way to sort of shut down Imbolite is just try to clamp down on his laning phase.
Yeah, we're going to see what Verge do decide to pick up after that. Shen and Gragas lock in here coming out from exceL. Now, we saw a lot of Shen yesterday. Shen in the jungle was brought out by FM eSports, didn't work out too well for them. That was actually the game they lost against Verge, and then Gragas has been played a huge amount as well. Dan has been picking that one up a lot for Verge, so I'm not surprised to see exceL picking that one away. Dan's gone for the Udyr, and it looks like it's going to be Thresh for Rafa as well. Two strong picks for them. We talked about this time and time again yesterday, exCoundrel. The Jinx ban coming out against Verge is so big here for exceL.
Well, I had a chat to exceL, and they kind of said they think the best option is to follow what FM did, and either you're banning Jinx or you're first picking Jinx. I think it's just because of how strong Nizar is on that champion and how he has that win rate on her in competitive matches in the UK ESL Premiership for a reason. The guy, you know, you can remedy it any way you want, but if VG or the old Divine get Jinx, they win games. And there's no other way to remedy that.
We're going to see what exceL do decide to lock in here. Udyr, Dan played that once yesterday, got those flash bear slaps off a few times. Rafa, very strong on that Thresh as well, was able to catch people off towards the side with his hooks. The thing about Thresh is it's all about being able to hook people who aren't expecting the hook. I know that sounds odd, but at this level of play, it's pretty easy to dodge a hook if you know it's coming. It's about trying to position yourself so it looks like you're going to hook one person, you go for the other, and you manage to lock them down.
The fake out hook.
The fake out hook. It's going to be a Victor for VDS and exabyte on Corki.
Yeah, that's a strong champion for exabyte, one of his best.
Yeah.
And then VDS picking up the Victor is obviously one of his. I mean, before Victor was reworked and last season, VDS was known for his Victor.
Yeah.
That was like his champion. He hasn't played it extensive amounts than he had previous to the rework. In fact, actually, it was Malzahar and Victor was basically VDS's champions. But he hasn't played it a massive amount this season, especially in solo queue, but he still has that competency, so I expect that to be fine. We're going to see Rafa picking up the Thresh, like you said. That was banned against him both games by exceL previously, so they've kind of turned around and said, okay, we're realizing the prioritization of the bans may have not been correct, and you can immediately see that the way that they've run with this team comp has been, okay, Shen and Gragas should be priorities. We take them off the board. That means Prince Philip doesn't get Shen, and it means that Dan doesn't get Gragas, but Dan has gone straight for that Udyr. He is actually going to completely ignore the SejuaniI that has been left open, and interesting if Red Movement does go for Soraka, but I don't think it's going to be a Soraka.
You don't pick a Soraka into a Thresh, no matter how well you can play that champion. I mean, she's very frustrating to play against, of course, because of that Divine Blessing, the Astral Blessing, sorry. The heal, really difficult to play against. But whenever you hook that Soraka, you've got Ignite on the Thresh in the bottom lane as well. She's going to die every time she gets hooked, well, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Red Movement, if he decides to go for it, it'll be a very interesting pick. He does still have his Lulu available. He's locked in the Soraka. That is a brave pick in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm going to double check that if it is...
Just
double check, just in case. But I imagine Red Movement being a support main would have most of the supports in his arsenal.
Oh, definitely. But Soraka's just someone we really don't see that often.
And also it's him picking for himself. So, you know, it's not like he's going to have a placeholder for himself. No, that is almost certainly going to be a Soraka then, which I do think is a little bit of a curveball here. I don't think anyone was expecting that.
Definitely not.
I think it threw us because we were expecting it to be something slightly different. But yeah,
it exceeded my expectations of exceL right there.
So, are you expecting here a lane swap coming out, considering it's red side, Shen will be over the Gromp side of the map, Soraka and Corki may struggle a little bit in lane versus Thresh Lucian?
I think Thresh Lucian is a really strong lane. Actually, Nizar taking the cleanse as well, just to get him out of that gravity field and out of the taunt, and the silence as well coming out from Red Move, and that's quite a strong ability. The lane swap into a Sion doesn't tend to be that strong. And with Artorias picking up a Shen's really weak in a 2v1 lane.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue Shen isn't the worst in the 2v1 lane.
Yeah.
He can still farm with Vorpal Blades. He does have a small amount of sustain, but, you know, Sion does do well and does probably do better. And especially without Flash, Artorias is then susceptible to being
he can do what we saw yesterday, which is where he just rotates with Nocturnal Plex in the jungle for a while and then goes into his lane.
But I am wondering whether Soraka obviously has that Starfall ability, which will just allow her to continuously harass maybe before Thresh can get into a position where he's starting to dominate lane. As long as Red Movement is dodging hooks, you really wouldn't expect it to be too much of an issue. And obviously, if he looks to walk up to the bot lane to use his Flay, you can immediately just put down the AoE silence and say, walk through this and Flay, but you're going to get locked up. And obviously, Corki will trade incredibly well in close quarters. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing this pick come out because this is not something I was expecting. And I don't think it's anything that we haven't seen a lot of it.
I can't remember the last time I saw Soraka being played in a competitive game. League Legends.
And a lot of Sorakas you tend to see in solo queue, they go for Warmogs because they just go around. They have that.
Your heal bot.
You basically have ambulance Soraka. You get the massive amount of health regeneration from Warmogs, and you just run around healing people across.
She's going to work exceptionally well in late game teamfights as well. I mean, Artorias and Gragas are going to be a huge, and Nocturnal Plex are going to be a huge frontline tank. And then you just have Soraka standing at the back, and you're like, you get a heal, you get a heal, you get a heal, you get a heal.
If you can place the silence in a correct position, if Prince Philip is coming in to use Unstoppable Onslaught, he then wants to use Decimating Smash. You throw the silence down, he has no way to follow up. He has to move out of that AoE silence. Same reason for Yuda. Yuda goes in and flash Bear Slap. Then he has to go through a silence, or run out the silence before he can use Bear Stance.
And the thing is, if he's Bear Stanced and then flash straight away, then he still gets the stun off because he's into Bear Stance already. So
but then
Dan
to try and follow up.
It's a lot more difficult.
It's a lot more difficult.
You can't double Bear.
Silence. You can't double Bear Slap. We should do like a synchronized double Bear Slap. Do you want to try and do it? Bear Slap. So we've got to do it like that.
Okay.
Ready?
Bear Slap. Okay, that was slightly off.
That was slightly off. We'll work on it throughout the night.
We'll work on our bear slapping throughout the night. Maybe Dan will pick it up in the next game as well. Of course, this is a best of 3 between exceL and VergeGG. The winner of this goes to MCM in London in May. It's exactly what we said. It's exciting stuff. And they will be fighting up in MCM Comic Con in London. Make sure you get your tickets, guys. You can find them on the MCM website. And make sure if you go there, you visit the sponsors of ESL UK as well. It's AOC Gaming and SanDisk.
Yeah.
They've been really good to us, actually. I mean, they both just signed year-long deals with ESL UK. They're providing the monitors here. All of our storage is on SanDisk storage as well. It's really, really cool.
Both of them owe the key to my heart.
They have the key to your heart. I thought I had the key to your heart.
Well, as an extension, SanDisk and AOC also own the key to my heart.
Okay.
And the only way that you can view that is on an AOC
I thought you were going to say the only way is Essex there for a second.
Why would that be at all relevant to what I was just saying?
Just because the audience can't see your white stilettos doesn't mean you're not wearing them, scoundrel.
Well, how do you think I get up to your height to kiss you?
Oh, yeah.
Right, we're going to get into
the
game now.
The fishnet stockings that put me off.
I'm actually wearing jeans, just in case anyone's wondering.
Oh, yes. Jeans.
Right, we're going to get into game, ladies and gentlemen, and it is going to be the first between exceL and VG, but not the first of the week. It's the third of the week, as VG did 2-0 sweep the exceL lineup yesterday. So can exceL come back? Can exceL try and regain a little bit of pride for the exceL eSports brand because they do want.
It's not just pride, though, isn't it? Like they're playing for big money here.
Oh, they are. They're
it's
playing
a big deal.
They're playing for the ability to go through to MCM and compete for a total of £6,000 prize pool, which obviously is spread out across both the qualifiers and the group stages and the MCM event.
And if they win this best of 3, they get 50 quid.
They do.
That's Nando's.
Yeah, that's a Nando's.
Don't say no to Nando's, boys.
Or other
That's
food
our new year-long sponsor for ESL UK.
Other food chains are available.
Yeah,
and but yeah, there's a little bit to play for here. So I think we're going to have to see how Artorias performs on Shen. That'll be a big thing. I haven't seen him play much Shen recently.
No.
So it's something maybe he's been practicing.
We haven't really seen a lot of people play much
Shen. Yeah, I know.
Though.
Shen is a fairly new pick to the meta at this point in time. He sort of transferred over from Korea and China, and then sort of people started picking it up over here. Nocturnal is on a very strong jungler. Obviously, we've seen Nocturnal 1v1 Dan and go quite aggressive against Dan yesterday and managed to pick up a kill. So whether he has the ability to do that against definitely not Udyr, then I don't know. I mean, it's probably actually Blitzcrank in the jungle. I'm not entirely sure.
We need to be careful for those hooks coming out from Dan because
it is Blitzcrank.
Yeah,
jungle.
Blitzcrank jungle can be very, very strong. It's definitely not Udyr. Warlord Shen against Warmonger Sion. Will Shen be the lord of the top lane, or will Sion monger up something to face against him? Sion into Shen. How do you feel that goes? Sion into Shen.
I think Shen should. Sion should be able to win that in the early stages. Sion puts a lot of damage down with decimating smash.
Yeah.
Shen is very rarely going to be able to put enough pressure onto Sion before he gets his skirmishes saved. But before he gets that, it's going to be so hard to put pressure onto Sion in that top lane. So I think for the most part, it'll be a status quo.
What's your favourite set of words? Favourite Latin phrase?
Status quo.
It's the status quo, boys.
It'll be just an even.
We need to learn some status quo songs.
Yeah,
so that we can,
I actually haven't listened to status quo.
Regale people during the cast. I'm sure that Twitch chat is just like, no, please God, do not learn songs.
I don't know. I think it'll be beautiful. Anyway, we are into game here.
Here we go.
Seconds have started
Rolling
ticking.
up my sleeves, getting ready.
And Sona will guide you through the first few seconds.
It is the first game of this best of 3 between VergeGG and exceL eSports. On Verge, we have Prince Philip in the top lane playing that Sion. Dan playing definitely not Udyr in the jungle. Imbolite picked up the Ninetale Fox, the Ahri in the mid lane. Nizar is on Lucian in AD carry, and Rapper is playing Thresh as a support.
Yeah, and on the side of exceL, you've got Shen on the top lane for Artorias, Nocturnal Plex on Gragas in the jungle, VDS on that Victor, Exabyte on Corki, and Red
I'm going to
Movement
interrupt you
on
here, Scoundrel, because
Oh!
VDS is going to get spotted out. Rapper might have the hook. Is he going to go for it? He is, and VDS actually dodges it beautifully. Orb of Deception does come out. He's going to take some damage, does have to flash eventually, just because of that decimating smash. But as you were saying, VDS in the mid lane already burnt a summoner. Yeah,
already burnt a summoner on a Victor. That is such an important summoner to have in the early stages of the game. You are incredibly immobile, and should Udyr catch you out, which we have seen VDS overextend from time to time, should Udyr catch him out, that will be something that he will really struggle to deal with. Actually, I think Artorias is going to have to be very careful here.
Yeah, well, there's no flash player slap coming out from Dan because he's gone Phoenix stance first, so Artorias should be able to walk away, which is fine for him. They did also have vision of the top side of the river here in this little bush. Prince Philip going to push forward a little bit, places a ward. Artorias and Nocturne Plex will take that one out. 10 gold across to exceL. GG, well played. Surrender at 20.
Yeah. So, essentially, I think Artorias is really trying to put pressure down onto that blue buff. He really wanted to make sure that he could take that away from the Udyr, or try and disrupt this Udyr jungle, because it kind of puts Udyr on a stage where he can't easily invade a Gragas, or he can't easily 1v1. So anyway, we'll see. He's going to move round and just help the Nocturnal Plex take these Krugs away, but unless, you know, anything crazy happens, I think Artorias is actually going to stand in a standard lane. He's actually looking like he is moving towards that blue buff.
That's really interesting.
So that's a very late invade here onto that blue buff.
He could just be going for the Gromp. Actually going to put out a quick pause. He could be going for the Gromp just to get that buff in lane from the Smite. The gift of the Toadstool, which would be interesting, but he could go for the blue buff. It would take him a while. Prince Philip would notice that he's not in the lane, but of course Artorias could be doing his own jungle camp. So if he manages to sneak this one away and teleport into lane, he will have lost a little bit of XP to Prince Philip, because Prince Philip has basically finished his Murkrow camp now and is going to go up towards that top lane. But taking a blue buff away from an Udyr early game, Udyr relies a lot on spamming spells to clear his jungle.
Yeah, I mean, that blue buff is quite crucial. for UDID to be able to continuously, basically is quite crucial for UDID to continuously clear his jungle easily. And obviously UDID does rely on a lot of early pressure and AoE clear in his jungle, because that is essentially what he's useful for. He's also quite good in dueling other junglers. That's practically one of the main points.
Why are we talking about Udyr though when he's not in this game?
Obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely not Udyr being picked up in the jungle.
But no, okay, I'm gonna try and clear my head, because my mind's just, I'm trying to read some.
Is your mind telling you no?
My mind
your
is telling
body
me no, but
is
the whispers,
telling you,
the continuous whispers I seem to have coming through my
careless whisper in your ear. Now exabyte Red Movement facing up against Nizar and Rafa in the bottom lane. Looks like they are going to just try and sustain themselves in lane. Interestingly, Spellthief's Edge being picked up on the Soraka. She's going for a little bit of harassment with the bananas, which is what you expect. You expect her to try and get a little bit of extra damage down, but sometimes we see Relic Shield or Talisman, Ancient Coin being picked up on the Soraka because it gives you that little bit more mana. The AP Starfall isn't really going to do... You're not really looking for a huge amount of damage coming out from Soraka in lane, apart from her auto attacks, so... I mean, you do get a little bit of extra damage from the Spellthief's Edge on those autos, so the bananas are going to be hurting ever so slightly more for Red Movement at the moment, but very even game. It's a little bit difficult to discuss things because we're only 2 minutes 17 into the game. It's early on. There is a PC crash or something, so we're just waiting on the teams to get back in.
Yeah.
Excoundra, let's talk about something.
What would you like to talk about?
Well, let's talk about ESL and the UK Premiership.
Okay, that sounds like a nice topic.
We didn't cast the qualifiers together. You and Asigilis did the first two.
Yeah.
A very, very good job, I must admit. Asigilis, one of the rising casters in the UK. If you haven't heard of him,
he's very good.
Check him out on Twitter at Asigilis. That's OSIGALAS, I think. Really cool guy. Really good caster as well. Does some stuff with the Newell along with Munch. Munch, a great caster as well.
Yeah.
But the qualifiers, of course, we had 8 teams qualified from the qualifiers, from the 3 qualifiers, and now we're into the group stages. Last week we saw Choke Infused, Lincoln, and, or was it, no, Grey Warwick.
Yeah.
Grey Warwick, and who was the last team?
Choke Infused, Grey Warwick, and Ascendant? No.
Yeah, no, Ascendants.
Yes, Ascendants.
Ascendants face up, and we saw Choke going, here we are. Excellent. We saw Choke going through in first spot there. They went through the winners bracket, and then Infused beat Ascendants in the lower bracket to go through themselves.
Yes.
Infused actually did really well there because they came off a bad performance at LAN over the weekend. They come 6th in the tournament that they played over that weekend, and then they managed to come back and do a really good performance actually online, which is great for them. This week, we've seen FM eSports go through in the first place spot. They beat out Verge and exceL. They beat out Verge and Lincoln Grey yesterday. Now, Verge did well against exceL yesterday because they got that Jinx, and we talked about the Jinx pick earlier.
Yeah.
They then did very well versus FM, apart from their last game, which was
But they had
teetering.
Jinx, had Jinx in that first game against FM, and they just, like you said, it just carried them through. And then the FM cottoned on to the fact that Jinx
banned it away and then picked it up for themselves.
Banned it and then picked it, and both those games were won.
But
I wouldn't say convincingly. I think maybe the first game that they won was convincing, but the second game was a little bit more...
Well, Verge won the first game.
Oh, sorry. So the second game...
was convincing.
It was a little bit more close, wasn't it? The third game...
And then the third game...
It was a troll game.
It wasn't a troll game as such. I've talked to a couple of the guys from Verge, and they say we were tired, we wanted to either win or lose by 20 minutes, and they almost did it. I almost had to eat a sock.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, they got themselves... Basically, it was a composition. If they got ahead in lane and went crazy aggressive, they could just continuously dive and continuously catch people out, and then they could just, basically try and snowball the game and win it in 20 minutes.
That's basically what they could do.
But fortunately, FM were clued in enough that that wasn't the case.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, we're still waiting for a PC restart to happen here for VG.
Hopefully, it'll be sorted out in just a minute, but not really much we can do about that at the moment. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the teams that we've seen coming out in the ESL Premiership. There's actually a reconnect coming out, so hopefully in just a second we'll be back. But we've had a few teams that we expected to be here. I think FM, Infused, Choke are the 3 teams that you'd say, we're doing a UK tournament, who do you expect to be up near the top?
Yeah, I mean...
Generally.
Yeah, FM right now, you'd probably say hold the number 1 spot in the UK.
I think
just through recent performances. Obviously, that crown was previously held by Choke.
Yeah,
we are getting back into game, guys. That crown was previously.
You don't have to listen to us babble on for much longer.
I mean, that crown was previously held by Choke, coming back off the back of the 4 Nations.
I thought we were going to switch to the game, so I was like, I'll have a drink. Oh no, wait. Gaz has decided we must stay on stream for a couple of seconds longer. Here we go. Artorias is going to take the Gromp, but Dan's here, and he's already level 2. Artorias in an awful position. He's going to have to flash if he wants to get away. Oh, well, yeah, well, he's going to have to die then, isn't he? Artorias, first blood for Dan. Phoenix stance, picks up the kill. A fiery death there for the Warlord Shen. He got burnt in his own drug fields and gets taken out.
Yeah, they immediately tried to collapse onto him there. Actually, that was an interesting move because Sion moved from the top lane just to check without actually having known.
Well, no, because Dan came across and spotted him at the Grump, and then Sion moved down.
Oh, right, Sion moved down from there, did he? Okay, I thought he may have moved originally from lane. But that's not a great start there for the top lane Artorias. That's an early kill going to Dan. Definitely not done much to shut the jungle down. So not the best position in the world to start from. But again, not completely unrecoverable. And I think maybe it was a little bit risky going to the enemy jungle without having gone before the waves had spawned. If you can't get that, if you can't get into the enemy jungle before the waves spawn, there isn't really too much point trying to push yourself into that area because it's just a little bit too risky. Yeah, I almost think Artorias should have taken one of his own buffs or left it.
Red movement very low in the bottom lane. Pop the exhaust himself will pop through those biscuits. Nom down on the cookies. The cookie monster Soraka in the bottom lane. Just going to try and keep himself alive for now. Landed a nice Star Call. Of course, that gives you health back if you've leveled up that Astral Infusion. So if you can keep landing those, we'll be able to sustain himself back up in the lane. Ignite was popped on Rafa as well, so going to be okay for red movement at the moment.
Yeah, Plex is just trying to take his blue buff away, but Dan is very aggressive. He's actually not got that red buff anymore. Here comes Dan around the side in that bear stance. Plex is going to get locked up here.
Yeah, he is. The Gragas needs to be careful because there is an Udyr.
Oh, he's using the blue buff to his advantage.
The blue buff actually tanking onto Dan. Now he flashes in with the bear stance, but Dan gonna have to run away. Vidius coming across as well to make sure this is safe, but the rest of Verge are coming in, and the smite does go down. Dan will actually pick that one up for himself. It was a good bit of juggling of blue buff pressure there by Nocturnal Plex, but he didn't quite smite in time. Yeah. And it gets taken away from him. Yeah, outsmoked by Dan there. Dan picks up the blue buff and the experience with it, but again, it could have been a lot worse for Plex. He managed to use the blue buff and allow it to do the damage to Dan, which is a very great piece of juggling. And actually, he's already seeing in this top lane Prince Philip having the better of the time up against Artorias. And Prince Philip was level 3 when Artorias was level 1, so you kind of expect him to have a little bit of advantage in this lane.
Oh, Soraka has managed to heal back up here in this bot lane, so she'll be fairly happy with the outcome there. Actually, Nazar and Lucian is something we haven't seen him play competitively in the ESL Premiership. And you can see, like you said, they are focusing those hooks onto Soraka. They know exabyte can jump away with Valkyrie if he needs to. Oh, look at that deep ward already coming out from the jungle side of on the jungle side from the VG lineup. They really, like we said, they really prioritize getting deep vision down. exabyte having to jump away. Already a lot of pressure down here, and exabyte takes a piercing light to the face, and they're going to have to be very careful. Red movement doing his best to heal him up. As you know, Soraka can sacrifice 10% of her current health up until a point where she's below 5% or below 10%, and then she can just continuously look to heal up her AD carry. So he's going for a very sustained heavy lane, trying to make sure he survives in this laning phase, and trying to keep himself healthy as well. That'll be the most important point here for red movement. Just using that Star Call to the best of his ability to get health back for himself.
Yeah, definitely going to help out for exabyte. He's going to be sustained up in the lane. Doesn't matter how low he goes, really. Not really ever going to be in an awful situation unless there's a 3-man gank or something, or 1-man gank, and then a hook lands. Rafa and Nizar trying to position themselves off towards the side, but I really doubt much is going to come from that at all. Prince Philip is level 6. But not going to be roaming straight away. Dan has farmed up his own jungles, trying to take away this crab as well. But we see Nocturnal Plex coming down towards the bottom side. We'll spot that crab respawning, but decides against taking that one for exceL. It's 1,000 gold lead across the board here for VG. A little bit of a CS advantage in the top and the bottom lane. And of course, that first blood going across the Dan. Rafa going to try and land that hook, but there is the Equinox. The silence comes down, and Nizar, you can go into that silence, but you can't really get out of it.
Dan's looking to come and dive Artorias. They really put pressure on Artorias previously here. Or he's at least trying to put pressure down on the red side jungle of exceL. Dan, I think, will probably maybe just back off here. He needs to be a lot more careful than he was last game. He's trying to maybe go and put a ward down.
Artorias does get smited, but he's going to taunt away. And that's the Unstoppable Onslaught used as well from Prince Philip. So that's a cooldown down for them, which they will be quite happy with. Impolite and Vidius in the mid lane, farming up a Storm, just a very even lane. It's what we expected, really.
Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised, though. Vidius burnt his flash early in the game. He's been relatively safe, but I expected Dan to try and put a bit more pressure down in that lane.
Plex, Dan's coming to be trying to be aggressive here. Plex
Dan's only 5, though.
Dan is only 5. Here's the
There's
Shen
Stand
ultimate.
United. Nocturnal Plex, of course, does have that ult. He gets the smite down. There's the taunt, but teleport coming out from Sion here. He's going to be full HP as well because he's just backed away. And Artorias trying to get away towards safety. Explosive cast isn't going to be enough. He hasn't got flash, of course. Took that smite as his aggressive summoner. And Nocturnal Plex is going to have to run for the hills, run for the tower. And he will get away.
Yeah, I think it was just mana issues for Nocturnal Plex before. He didn't use his ultimate very early there.
No,
I think he could have separated the Dan and Prince Philip a lot earlier in that top lane, but unfortunately, due to mana issues, I don't think he could use it as effectively, or as quickly rather. And that's just another kill going over to the side of VG, and this one going over to Prince Philip. And Dan and Prince Philip been putting a lot of pressure on Artorias. He's already 20 CS down. He's picked up that Stalker's Blade and the Barney's Cinder, so starting to build towards the completed Cinderhulk jungle item, which will be obviously very, very beneficial when he's looking to duel with Prince Philip. But Prince Philip going for that early Righteous Glory. Oh, wow.
Lots of damage on
Lots of damage. It is just a lane that Prince Philip will win very easily because Artorias just cannot put enough pressure onto a Sion. Just won't be able to outtrade him in damage. And already being, basically 0-2 at this point in time, it's going to be even harder for him. Nocturnal Plex is going to try and catch out Nizar here.
He hasn't got explosive cast though, so he's not going to be able to knock him back. The hook does land. There's the lantern as well, and Nizar will be able to get away. Nice little bit of play there by Rafa. Lands the hook, stops Nocturnal Plex from body slamming, puts the lantern out for Nizar and gets him away. And just speaking about that second blood once more. Oh, actually, explosive cast. He's about to come off cooldown. There it goes. Nizar's going to get knocked into the wall. He flashes away. Nocturnal Plex did flash in as well. But exabyte and Red Movement not quite able to capitalize on a good little bit of jungle play there from Nocturnal Plex.
Yeah, actually, he managed to miss his drunken range auto attacks. He didn't get the red buff slow down onto Nizar. Not sure how much difference it would have made anyway, but maybe would have been the difference to get the kill or even allow exabyte to flash in with a missile. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. It was a pretty decent explosive cast, all said and done, but it did lock him against the wall rather than knocking him backwards, which meant that he didn't quite get the displacement that he needed. Prince Philip, you can see here, he's just pushing Artorias off this minion wave, and he's really struggling to keep up at this point in time. 25 CS down. The minion wave frozen at Prince Philip's turret area. It's going to be very difficult at this point in time for Artorias to get back into it. And I think Prince Philip says, well, take my Shen away. I know how to play against this Shen.
Dan flashes the gravity field and Impolite uses the Spirit Rush. Here's Rafa from the side, but he misses the hook. Equinox comes down and Rafa's
wow, it's a lot of damage.
A great fight there. A lot of damage as well. Chaos Storm was popped by Vidius. Here comes the Stand United. Nocturnal Plex the target, and he's going to have a taunt coming out from him in just a second.
Oh, no,
it's not. It was cancelled by Prince
but
Philip
Prince
in the top
Philip
lane.
might pay for it. He might pay for it.
Artorias does get the kill. Prince Philip pays with his life, but cancelling out that Stand United. Nicely done by him to cancel it out, but needed to escape. It looks like he used the Unstoppable Onslaught to cancel that one out.
Vidius was saved quite significantly there by Red Movement.
Yeah.
A lot of healing went down onto him. The Chaos Storm did some work, and all of that was just because of the positioning of Rafa. He thought he was in prime position to help his team out, but once Vidius flashed, he was in no man's land.
And it's the Equinox there as well. Yeah. He's still got the box up, he's still got Ignite up, he's still got Flash up.
The Equinox is
if
perfect.
If the Equinox hadn't been there, that's the silence, the AoE silence coming out from
And also the fact that Nizar was so low, he couldn't commit to the fight because he knew that he's got no flash. If he tried to commit with Relentless Pursuit, he put himself in a position where he would easily die to just maybe one death ray or exabyte jumping in with Valkyrie and managing to pick that one up. So nice play by exceL to try and even the score up. They do take the first dragon, still trailing by around 1,000 gold, but it doesn't mean too much at this point in time. Also, that top tower, oh sorry, no, what tower's gone down? No, it's a tower for, dragon, sorry, I can't read. I cannot read, I thought that was tower.
Considering how long you've been spectating and casting games, you think you'd understand the overlay by now, but yes, 1 dragon to 0.
Wow, that was a bit harsh, really, I think.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I promised myself I wasn't going to be harsh to you.
Yeah, I mean,
But when you mistake a dragon for a tower,
well,
we're in trouble.
I blame the...
you not put your contacts in today?
I blame the tilt of the screen.
Yeah.
I can't really blame
the screen tilts harder than you do in Platinum 4. And
I'm not in Platinum 4, thank you very much.
Where are you now? You got up to Plat 2 or something?
You cheeky sod. I'm actually in Plat 1, thank you.
Oh, you're in Plat 1 now. Congratulations, man.
Well, I think I was. I'm not sure if I am anymore.
Okay.
I might have lost a few last night.
Artorias picking up that kill in the top lane has got him back into this lane. He's picked up the Cinderhulk enchant. Finally, Nocturnal Plex spots out that pink ward. Actually, that's interesting. He had to, the Raptor buff alerted him of it, so he's going to
That's been there a very long time.
Been there a very long time. Imbolite's going to go in here. The Gravity Field comes out, but there's Rapper and Dan coming to the side. The charm misses. What can VDS do here? Not much, because he gets hooked, and it's a death essay for him as Dan slaps him to death.
Yeah, that was more than just a death sentence, like you said. It really sealed his fate. And nothing you could do there. I often feel that the VG lineup does this a lot, and then exceL really struggled to capitalize on it. They don't manage to capitalize in this bot lane because Nizar plays so safe. Yeah. And obviously, you're not seeing the same level of roaming from Red Movement that you're seeing from Rafa. And because the flash from VDS went down that last team fight, they managed to exploit that. So just a free kill pick up there for Dan, which, and he's going to try and pick something up again.
Going to try and get onto Red Movement. The Equinox does come out. There's the Wish as well. There's the Stand United. What can they do? Red Movement flashes away, but exabyte did get hooked. Here comes Artorias. Can he turn it around? exabyte's going to be healed up, and a beautiful 3-man taunt. Dan very low. Nizar very low as well, but I'm not sure they can fight this with the teleport coming out from Prince Philip. He does have Unstoppable Onslaught if they want to dive, and I don't think they'll go for that one in the end.
No, Red Movement doing his best to just provide as much health.
So much healing there.
Yeah.
Probably 1,000 or so HP that he healed up throughout that entire fight. That's basically a Warmog's armor that he's healed there.
Yeah, that was a really nice... oh, wow, actually, VDS just doing his best in the mid lane to push Imbolite out, but very even in the mid lane right now, despite the kill onto VDS early on. Oh, looks like it is a...
Unstoppable Onslaught coming into the mid lane, and VDS going to get caught out once more. He doesn't have Flash. He doesn't have any Life Force left. And the Grand Inventor, in fact, gets taken down by the Ninetail Fox.
I feel like that, again, should have been something VDS was aware of.
It's got ward coverage.
Yeah, there was ward coverage. He saw Sion moving up through the mid lane area. I think that maybe something that he should have been a little bit more clued up to. Again, this is something we've talked about with VDS's play. He sometimes doesn't quite pay attention to where things are on the map, and unfortunately was caught up there. Because actually the ward coverage from exceL isn't bad this game. There's a lot of cover in this mid lane and around the Dragon area, which was poor for them previously. And you can see lots of ward coverage in the top lane too. So it's a lot better than we've seen from them in the previous games. But they're not using it to the best of their advantage.
No, not quite being able to capitalize on that extra vision control they've got. Morello Nomicon has been completed for Imbolite, so he's going to be outputting a huge amount more damage on that R. He can spam out those orbs of deception as much as he likes. Prince Philip's gone back. He's gone for the Warden's Mail now, so that's interesting. He's kind of like half built 3 different items there. That's
that's basically going for a little bit of flat health with the Catalyst and the Resistances, and I assume he will be eventually finishing up one of those items. Depends what he wants to itemize into first. But
I like the Catalyst as well as the first item because it gives you sustain in lane. Every time you level up, you get extra HP and mana back. So if he's just having a bit of a slap fest with Artorias, a bit of wet handbags at dawn, he can continue to sustain himself in that lane.
Yeah, and
wet handbags at dawn. What on earth are wet handbags at dawn?
Literally, I've never heard
of
that.
How are they worse than dry handbags at dawn?
I don't know.
Why has it got to be at dawn?
I'm just going along with what you said. I assumed it was some sort of phrase that you'd picked up.
Hey,
but
I like to turn a phrase, but can exceL turn this game around? 2,000 gold, actually 3,000 creeping up on them now. Artorias trying to do what he can. Lands a nice taunt. He pops the Skirmisher Saber, but look at the Soul Furnace. Prince Philip basically takes no damage from that. Yeah,
and unfortunately there's nothing they can do to stop this pink ward going down, but the vision they had managed to allow VDS to at least put a bit of pressure onto Dan there, and he does get the blue buff in return. Prince Philip, he's not doing the damage he was doing previously. Artorias is now managed to stabilize. Like I said, once he does get that Cinderhulk, he should stabilize. But the problem for exceL here is they're losing towers quite significantly. They've lost a lot of gold to the towers that have gone down already. And this will be a big injection of cash in this coming team fight for the VG lineup should they choose to try and spend it. It doesn't look like the exceL guys are too keen on contesting it with everyone having backed, but we'll have to see. They may head down towards that area. Soraka and Nocturnal are making a beeline for the Dragon area. And Imbolite and Rafa just waiting to catch someone out there.
Dragon up in 5 seconds. VG doing what they do best. When there's an objective around, they secure vision control over it very, very well. They've swept out all of these bushes. Red movement going to come around here and try and sweep out as much as he can, along with Nocturnal Plex. No upgraded Oracle's lenses from either team yet, so they're not going to be able to deny vision as much as they'd like, but a good pink ward here from Dan. Going to keep exceL away from garnering vision of this jungle. Imbolite actually taken quite low there from the missile barrages. Nocturnal Plex pushing forwards here. Of course, they would stand united on Artorias, so he can join the fray whenever he likes. The Dragon has been started. It's down to 3,000 HP. Prince Philip's going to try and lock him out. Here comes the stand united on Nocturnal Plex. Prince Philip goes in. Imbolite as well. Red movement gets taken down. That's a big kill early on in this fight. Artorias, though, locking out two in the back line. Explosive cast from Nocturnal Plex. VergeGG is fighting off against Imbolite, but I think Imbolite might be able to fight this one. Not quite. Prince Philip comes in. He's going to get ignited. He'll take down. No, he won't. They manage to escape. Can Prince Philip chase onto this? Gravity field comes out and slows him. But Dan and, but Artorias and Nocturnal Plex did get taken down by Verge here. As a ping coming out on the Dragon, Verge will take this one because VergeGG and exabyte too low to do anything about it.
Yeah, there was a massive zone coming out from the VG guys. They pushed the two major damage dealing sources out of the fight, and VergeGG attempted to get the flash kill onto Imbolite, but Imbolite managed to dodge away. Did eventually go down, but it was so close. And then Prince Philip doing his best job as well. But somehow, Nocturnal and Artorias managed to take out a member themselves. I think they got Dan down. So they did even despite a large portion of the damage being exiled from the fight. I think Red Movement getting caught was something that he wouldn't have wanted to have happened either. So Red Movement probably going to be trying.
If he'd been alive there, they could have challenged for the Dragon. Because a couple more heals onto exabyte or VergeGG. That would have been very dangerous for Nizar and Rafa to stay around with no summoners.
Yeah, I completely agree on that sense as well. So, yeah, but I mean, it looks like there's an advantage starting to creep out for the VG lineup yet again, but it's all invested in towers.
Yeah.
If exceL can push out and attempt to get some tower pressure back, they will be in a good spot in terms of gold. Interesting enough, we've got obviously a Triforce coming out from exabyte, but
Rafa might get caught out here. It's going to take a lot of damage from VergeGG and Red Movement. Equinox comes down, the Chaos Storm as well. I think Rafa might just about survive that one. The teleport was cancelled out. Here comes Nocturnal Plex. Here comes Artorias.
Oh,
and there goes Imbolite. Is it going to be enough? It is. Nocturnal Plex puts down the explosive cast as well, but really well done there by Artorias with that teleport. Of course, when you're playing against a Shen, you need to remember he's got the stand united and the teleport, because a lot of the time these days, top laners will take TP and you're like, okay, he used TP in the Dragon fight, it's fine, we can fight.
They want to get this turret, but it is very, very, very healthy at this point in time. The culling does come out. I think this is an easy defense for the VG guys. There's not much they can do to dive, and then eventually Imbolite will be back in the fray. So
there's good enough siege as well from exceL though. If they can, I mean, they're not going to get the tower here, but exabyte with the missiles, Death Ray coming out from VergeGG as well. If they take any counter harass, they can just sustain up through Red Movement. Like, they've got a good siege team if they can start getting into positions where they're able to siege. The problem is at the moment they're just a little bit too far behind, and Verge don't have a problem engaging on them.
Yeah, no, completely. And wow, Plex just jumping over.
Oh, here comes Dan. Exabyte VergeGG again, a little bit overextended. There comes the stand united though. Dan's going to go low. Is Artorias going to get there in time? He is only taunted onto Prince Philip though. Dan's going to chase in again. Artorias might go down here. And VergeGG again, a little bit overextended. Means that Artorias pays with his life.
Yeah, unfortunately. They were really, really trying to put pressure onto that turret, but you have to really, really count the engage coming from the top laner of VG. Sion just has the potential to turn things around in a snap of a finger, and VergeGG unfortunately forcing Artorias to pay with his life. I'm not sure Artorias should have taunted in there. I think maybe the stand united was enough to allow VergeGG and then taunt away. But maybe he was expecting to turn the fight around. Again, loads and loads of deep vision coming from that win for VG, and I think there needs to be you need to make use of these sweep awards that both Nocturnal and VergeGG have picked up. You need to start clearing out vision, because there just is so much vision now starting to creep into the blue side jungle for VG, and I imagine that will be reciprocated on the red side once they manage to get the pressure there. Like I said, I think what they should have done in that situation was maybe have put someone in the bot lane to take that bot lane turret after they took out Imbolite. Allowed exabyte to split bot, and then just left the rest of them to try and siege mid.
Yeah, makes sense.
But now, probably for what has happened, they may even end up losing this top lane turret.
Quite possibly. Artorias does land a nice taunt onto Prince Philip, but a couple of tower shots is no big deal to Sion, and he'll just walk away. Soul Finish was popped, of course, and he's just going to take away his own blue buff. You talked about putting someone in the bot lane. It looks like exabyte is your man. Going to try and, well,
the problem is they can see exactly what's going on right now. VergeGG going for that blue buff, they saw it, so they know where he is. There's no surprises as he moves towards that mid lane.
What they need is a good old-fashioned Oracle's Elixir.
But yeah, they need to send themselves back about a year and a half.
Yeah. And then the team comp, apart from perhaps Victor, would be still pretty OP a year and a half ago. If Soraka could still give mana as well.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, they've got a pretty decent team comp.
Yeah,
so they wouldn't mind.
This is the CLGEU.
And also, then you'd have the crap Scion, basically.
Yeah. Awful Scion, who did nothing.
A full AD Scion, 3 Zeals.
Yeah.
Artorias, they're going to try and catch them. They know that they're coming up towards this top lane, and I think there's nothing that Artorias can do to protect this one.
But look at this ward, like the Krug ward here. Verge are really good at vision control because they put wards in places you don't expect.
Yeah.
You don't often see a Krug ward. Usually you see a ward up in this bush where the barrel is. So they're able to spot out Nocturnal Plex as he comes around, and he's very, very unlikely to sweep out that area.
Exactly, they're putting these wards, and they do get a decent amount of vision. At least, you know, Plex doesn't actually take his Krug, and that's going to be picked up by exabyte. But yeah, they need to start sweeping just areas in their jungle, because at the moment it's completely lit up for VG. This happens for them time and time again. It allows them to completely predict the movements of the exceL lineup and then react to them in proper ways.
Even when they're not warding, like Dan has got vision control by smiting those wolves. Like that is just really smart play by Verge. They know perhaps the wards might get cleared out, or they don't have any sight. Stonepok's only one left. They're just like, oh yeah, I'll just smite the wolves and then we'll be able to walk away. Nocturnal Plex trying to get in there, but not going to be able to do much. And exceL, 30 seconds on the Dragon. They need to gain some control over this.
Just walking past these pink wards.
Yeah. The thing was they swept a pink ward. You don't sweep it, you walk into the bush, you check if there's a pink ward there, and then you sweep it. They wasted that because they didn't have awareness that there was a ward in the bush. They've got double sightstone, so their own warding potential is really strong. But
the entire of exceL, they can see where they are right now. And so they're not going to be putting themselves in positions where Nocturnal can get a pick or a good engage, because they're just seeing exactly where he's moving. Ping's coming out every time someone is moving across the exceL side of the jungle. And exceL, you can see their ward line has become very deep in their own jungle, which isn't going to provide much for them in a position like this. But
right, just glory from Dan. He's going to try and get onto exabyte. He needs to be careful though, because Nocturnal Plex is behind him, and the rest of exceL around the corner. Gravity Well does come down, and Rafa's going to have to flash away. Nocturnal Plex will survive. Here comes the unstoppable onslaught. The stand united on exabyte though. Prince Philip might have gone a little bit deep on this one. Exabyte taken low. The taunt doesn't quite connect. The wish does come out as well. Explosive cast on the back line, and what can exceL do here? They're trying to be... It's a kite potential coming out from Verge, but Prince Philip, a very tanky man. Nocturnal Plex goes in, almost takes down Rafa. Not quite enough. The face of the man to keep him alive. A good stun. Red movement trying to run away from this one. The Starball comes down. Prince Philip gets some damage onto VDS, and VDS is now the front line for exceL. A taunt onto Impolite on Rafa, but Artorias will go down as well. Prince Philip manning up. The Warmonger Scion has declared war on exceL, and he's doing a great job of it. A huge tank and a very back and forth fight, but Verge will take 2 kills for nothing. And they'll take the Dragon.
I'm not quite sure that that was the correct line of play there for Nocturnal. They were already losing the team fight. There was no need to try and engage it again. Here you are, you see, this is a good disengage from Rafa. Nocturnal's taken a bit of damage. You can see VG wanting to back away. Prince Philip has just used his onslaught. He's still very healthy. The rest of VG have managed to negate big ultimates coming out from the exceL lineup. Now Nocturnal is going to try and go in, but you're going on to Rafa. I mean, you're now completely isolated from your team. There's no way that they can back you up easily. Artorias is not in the right positions. And yeah, this is just not a great fight for exceL. Unfortunately, that was just overcommittal by Nocturnal with absolutely no follow-up left on his side. I mean, really, if you're going to do that, you're expecting Artorias to use his stand united on you. But that wasn't the case right there. Yeah, I mean, this is not working out the best right now for the exceL guys. They do pick up a sweep on that ward there, which will allow them to gain a little bit more vision control. But yeah, I mean, that was just a bit of a misplay when it came to the team fight.
The thing about it is, yes, they're 6,000 gold behind, but they've hit a few power spikes. They've got that Trinity Force on exabyte. They've got the Randuins on Artorias now as well, so it's going to help him out a little bit. A Warmog's finished on Nocturnal Plex, so he's pretty tanky. If they can catch out a couple of members of VG, they can definitely get back into this. It's just about whether or not they can make those picks. And the vision control from VG, we said it time and time again, is denying these picks. It's so, so good. You said they can see Nocturnal Plex wherever he goes in his own jungle. They can see whatever's happening. And it means that VG can be a little bit more aggressive than perhaps they should be against a mid-game power, power spiking team. exceL, Victor scales really well into the late game, also has a big power spike when he starts to build towards that Rabadon's death cap. Exabyte with the Trinity Force power spikes in the mid-game as well. Corki's only going to fall off from here. Maybe after he picks up his Blade of the Ruin King, he'll get another mini spike, but the Trinity Force is the big spike for Corki.
Yeah, and already is a massive advantage for Nizar. He's 3-0-3. and picked up the Phantom Dancer and the Infinity Edge. And that's a big difference that I've noticed between the two AD carries, especially on these auto-attack based champions, that a lot of it is oh wow, here comes the Unstoppable Onslaught.
They're going to try and get onto red movement. What can Verge do here? Will they be able to lock down onto exabyte? I'm not sure. Red movement off towards the side. Looks like Prince Philip's just going to be a little bit aggressive by himself there. Wasn't quite able to catch onto the Soraka. She bananaed her way away. You can't quite... You can, if you're very good, get a sign ult to curve around that bush, but it's a very difficult skill to master. It wasn't quite able to connect there on the Unicorn Woman.
They need to be careful that they don't get caught out. I think Nocturnal knows.
Oh, he dodges the hook. Well, the hook missed. I don't really think he dodged that. It was just a little bit misplaced. Artorias still splitting bot lane. They've got their first tower of the game. If they can get another one here, it's 4 towers to 1. A couple of towers would get them right back in this game.
VG are just going for it here.
But Explosive Cast Smite is a big combo. Rapper's going to hook onto Nocturnal Plex. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a steal. Nocturnal Plex actually doesn't have Explosive Cast, so he would have to just body slam in. Vedius can pop down the Chaos Storm as well. Tower goes down. Here goes Nocturnal Plex. He doesn't. He does! He does get the steal! I can believe it because I said it was going to happen. And Prince Philip goes quite low as well. But that is exactly what exceL needed. Artorias didn't even stand united there because they knew Nocturnal Plex was on a suicide mission. Now Artorias can split push with those Baroned up minions.
Yeah, there was no real advantage for VG to go there apart from the vision control. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, you'll see it right here. Plex is going to go for the steal. He does manage to get it. I don't even think he used Explosive Class. I think it was the Equinox stopping Dan from smiting. I think the Equinox came down.
Does silence stop you from smiting?
I'm not sure. I'll have to double check, but I feel like it stops most things. Actually, Artorias in the bot lane sticking around here. I'm not sure that was
that's something we've seen a few times from exceL. Just sticking around
a little bit too long. Yeah, they stick around just a little bit too long, but he did get a bit of pressure onto that turret. And
he loses Baron though, and
he does
totally reduces their split push percentage.
Exactly. Without Baron, Shen's going to be a little bit less effective in that split push role. But the Baron was a massive injection for cash for exceL here. They needed that cash, and it's put them back within 4K. So, you know, 10% down here on the VG lineup. But that was a big steal, steal, and I think it's definitely kept them in the game here.
You do feel a little bit like Verge didn't need to go for that.
They did. That's what I was, I was just saying it beforehand. But Verge I don't think Verge needed to go for that. All they had was the vision control, but they didn't exactly try and hide what was going on. Dragon's going to be up in 1 minute 47. This is going to be something that VG probably do want to try and take off the map because it will be their third Dragon. It will give them the movement speed, which is obviously really fantastic in a team like themselves, who really rely on movement speed to get their engagers going with Dan and also Prince Philip after he comes out of that Unstoppable Onslaught.
Having the Baron buff on exceL as well, like if you can get that second Dragon, usually we say second Dragon doesn't really mean that much because it's just extra damage to towers, but with a good siege comp like we have from exceL, along with that Baron buff, that second Dragon would actually mean quite a bit for them.
They're looking to try and catch them here, again through the use of their vision.
All of this vision.
Yeah. But the thing is, because exceL have lost those turrets, it's a little bit harder, a little bit riskier than to push up and put those wards down. It's kind of like the catch-22 of losing your turrets. You want to put the vision down so you don't lose objectives because you've lost the turret, but it's far more risky. Vedius again.
Dan actually gets knocked back. A nice explosive cast, but Vedius does have to flash away. Actually, it was a really good explosive cast on Nocturnal Plex. It kept Dan separated from his team, knocked back Rafa. Vedius had to flash away from the hook, but I think you'll take that 9 times out of 10 to keep your mid lane alive.
Going to be up in 1 minute and a half as well, so he's not too far off.
There's Luden's Echo now picked up an Imberlight, so he's going to clear pretty well. He's going to get a lot of poke damage off as well, but there's now a Zhonya's on Vedius. That's a big item threshold for him.
Elixir of Ruin on Shen. He needs to be in a more aggressive nearly said the wrong word there.
Nearly said the wrong word
in a split push role. He needs to be in a more aggressive split push role, and as a
slightly constipated because he needs to be in a more aggressive
whatever I said,
role, So Philip's going to get caught out here.
But Philip is going to get caught out.
There's the taunt. He's going to lock him down. He has got Unstoppable Onslaught though. There's the Decimating Smash. The rest of exceL have decided not to follow up on this one. So it looks like it's just going to be a little bit of damage coming down. And the problem there was... Nocturnal Plex, there's no problem at all because Nizar goes down!
Wow.
Here comes the Stand United onto exabyte as well. They're going to try and chase onto Imberlight. And as I love that. exabyte and Imberlight, it just rolls off the tongue. Sorry.
And that's going to be a man down and a big man down for Dragon here. So this could be something that exceL go for.
Nice exabyte though. The charm, Nocturnal Plex blocks that one up. The wish comes out. exabyte will survive. Imberlight, the Chaos Storm, so much damage onto him. Will he survive? Maybe just about he will. Rafa has to flash away. Dan pops the Righteous Glory and gets himself away, but a good fight from exceL. They've shown us what they can do. They've shown us
how healthy exabyte is now.
Look at how healthy they all are. The Dragon's going to go down. It's only 2,000 gold now, and exceL Is this the comeback that they are gonna start making now? Is this the comeback they're gonna? I'm gonna redo that one. Is this the comeback that we all wanted to see?
So here's Rafa with an absolute thread needle hook onto exabyte. exabyte does have flash. Also Soraka, obviously one of the best at keeping an AD carry alive. And then the Chaos Storm. Actually, the explosive cask allowed Imbolite to escape the Chaos Storm. Probably saved his life, but does secure Dragon. That'll be something that's definitely in the bonus.
It's exactly what we said, though. If they can catch someone out, they caught out Nizar, and then it was a 4v5, and they won the fight.
I mean, that's what they need to do, and especially with a composition like this, where if they do manage to catch someone out, it's very hard for them to get away. Nizar is actually still a little bit ahead of exabyte on that Corki. He's got a CS advantage and a kill advantage, so he's got basically almost an entire item up. But the Last Whisper coming out onto exabyte ASAP, so he's going to be given this top wave to clear unless actually Vidius has said, no mate, it's mine.
It's mine, mate. I need these minions for the gold, you know, bloods. Got to get that CS under my belt. He is actually 60 CS up on his lane opponent, so well done, Vidius.
Yeah, it was Victor though.
Balls all around. Well, the reason he's CSing so well is he's got 3 hands, so it's even easier for him to
Exactly,
CS.
so it's 3 chances. But in all seriousness, when you get level 9 on Victor and you have the upgraded Death Ray, that's basically one-shotting minion waves, or at least one-shots the caster minions, so then you can just auto-attack the melee minions for the kills. So it makes it fairly easy as a Victor player to just completely clear waves. Plex is getting pretty tanky. That Thornmail right there, see, second big item Thornmail, and he has gone for the Sightstone, so obviously that's picked up early on, but I haven't mentioned it yet. He is looking to prioritize Vision much more than we saw him prioritize it in the previous games. And remember, exceL have still got a tower to catch up on, so if they manage to pick up a tower, they'll look very, very even.
They're doing it at the top lane.
Yeah, so actually, this may spell out for VG to rotate mid.
Well, they're rotating bot. Artorias is in a bad position here.
Yeah, Artorias, and he won't be able to stand United away, so this is probably going to be Artorias giving up his life. But if they do all turn at bot, this may give cause for just them to continue to push this top lane.
The good thing for Artorias is there are no big damage dealers out of these 3 VG members, so it's going to take them a freaking age to take him down. He's got a taunt available as well. He's going to dodge back, and actually, Prince Philip's having to back away. Dan's going to keep chasing, puts down that Chilling Smite. They will pick him up, but meanwhile, Nizar gets knocked back with the explosive cast. Prince Philip comes in with the Unstoppable Onslaught. Nocturnal Plate's going to survive for ages. The Mikhail's coming out as well. And Verge will push them off this tower. Nocturnal Plate's once again going a little bit over aggressive, I feel.
They can fight this, I think.
Artorias does pop the Stand United onto Vidius. They're going to fight it. Imbolite has to be the target. Vidius, come on, hit him with stuff.
Oh,
the
there we
Chaos
go.
Storm is enough, and Prince Philip, there's the Equinox as well. Nocturnal Plate's goes back in. He might go down. One more auto, not quite enough. The heals from Soraka
my God,
absolutely
Soraka.
amazing. But here comes Nizar back into the fight. Soraka's gone down. And Verge are going to be able to force exceL away. Oh, a triumphant, the raw thingamabob that he uses, and Nizar goes in, he gets VDC, he flashes away. He can go back in, here comes Prince Philip with the Righteous Glory. Nocturnal Plex, Roy of the Slayer, that's the one, Evan. Prince Philip's going to chase onto Nocturnal Plex, Unstoppable Onslaught is dodged, but not exabyte. What happened there? The camera's jumping all over the shot. It's as excited as I am. Nocturnal Plex, Thornmail, Nizar with the auto-slinging light slinger attackerrinos. He should take down Nocturnal Plex here. Yeah. Just actually, if there hadn't been a shield there, Nizar might have gone down.
Baron is live, so that's going to be a free Baron here for.
It looked like exceL had it, and then they didn't.
They just stayed a little bit too long here. You see the Imbolite receives a lot of damage. Plex gets healed up massively, and they should have just said back off here. Yeah. They were going in and out, and Nizar is just far better on Lucian than exabyte is. Just jump in and out of a fight, and he's just always on the edge here of his auto attack. He's dodging those missiles, and yeah, unfortunately, you see Nizar just jumps in and out, picks up the kills with those auto attacks. That light slinger and the crits just doing the work. And yeah, unfortunately, just a bit of an overstay from the exceL lineup, but they've just lost Baron here, so they're going to have to start to turtle, which is not going to be ideal for them. But they do have a Victor.
Isn't that Dan who's turtling?
Yeah, no. Well, I don't think it's you, dear. So
okay.
I don't think Blitzcrank has a turtle.
No, he doesn't actually. I'm surprised we haven't seen more mana being built on Dan, considering that mana shield that he gets.
Yeah, and also he hasn't really been making too many grabs this game, which, as a sign of a Blitzcrank
well,
player.
he's been walking up to people and then grabbing them from like really short range.
Yeah,
so it looks more like a slap than anything.
It looks more like a slap, yeah. And he's wearing this funny costume, but I can't work out what's going on with that.
I'm not quite sure what's going on at all. Baron now onto Verge. It's going to give them a huge buff as they try and push down these lanes. They are 5 towers to 4 up at the moment. And exceL going to struggle a little bit.
Artorias again. He needs to be careful.
It's only Nizar there at the moment, but they don't have the vision control in their own jungle for him to be pushing out past that tower, especially since they saw Verge start to move away from mid lane.
Yeah, and now Verge are moving up to try and take the final inner turret of the game. I think you give this up. I mean, they've got Baron. It's not worth it. Just try to relax and push them. Just don't let them...
take a breath. You've got a good comp for anti-siege. You can push back the towers really well. If you can stay safe, if red movement specifically can stay safe, and neither exabyte nor Vidius gets caught out, you can win that fight. It's just about being able to funnel them into a choke point with the explosive cask and the chaos storm, and then letting Shen put those taunts down on as many people as possible, letting the Equinox come down. If you funnel in Verge as an exceL player here, you win that fight. It's just about whether or not you can get the funnel down.
So VDS just doing his best. He still clears the Baron minions with the Death Ray, but they are starting to lose a lot of pressure on this inhibitor turret. Oh, Charm comes out, does miss Exabyte by the slimmest of margins. I think they just need to try and hold on here. Hold on to your pants, because VG are really pushing down the middle, trying to barge down those doors.
Hold on to your pants, or if you're Scoundrel, hold on to your fishnet stockings.
Yeah.
The mid lane inhibitor tower gone down a little bit. We do see a little bit of defense coming out here, of course. Well, a lot of defense coming
Unless
out.
exceL engage on the next wave, I don't think this turret survives.
Oh, there's the explosive cast. Just going to clear the minions out. Exabyte dodges the Orb of Deception. His villain's going to get stunned up there. Of course, they're going to keep trying to fight. The tower's still surviving, though. The culling hitting onto Artorias. That's probably the best target for exceL. The tower's surviving. How long left on the Baron, you say? Well, I'm going to say about half of the cooldown of that one left. Is that half, or is it just about? It's just about to expire, actually. Just about to expire. So this has been a good hold from exceL. They've stuck in their base. They've said, "We remember the Alamo. You shall not pass through." And the Balrogs of VG.
I'm surprised they were alive during the Alamo.
Well, you don't have to be alive to remember something.
Well, I suppose not.
They remember it existed.
They remember that the Alamo was a thing, even though it's not taught in British history.
No, well, I went to school in India.
You did go to school in India. Did you learn American history in India?
Yes,
not Indian history.
It was an American school. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the game. The Balrog has been defended, forced back, and will we see the White Wizard of exceL rising from the grave? That's the question. Can Vidius do much with his magic staff? Where's Shadowfax? Actually, red movement's Shadowfax, isn't he?
Yeah, he is the unicorn horse. Yeah, I've heard VDS has got some magic ways with his wand.
He's a very powerful wand that he brings out only on special occasions. exceL, this is a very special occasion for them. Of course, if they win this game, one game closer to going to MCM London.
They casually stroll past these pink wards all the time.
Who needs to clear pink? Actually, no. I've talked to one relatively high level jungler, and he says sometimes he'll leave an enemy pink up because he then knows where the pink is,
and they can bait it,
and he can either bait it or he can just rotate around it, and it's wasted vision for the enemy team because you never really want to, like. I know we've all had it in solo.
At this point in the game, are you going to be rotating around anything?
No. But I'm just saying it's perhaps something that's going through Nocturnal Plex's mind. He did go back and clear it out, so. Obviously not what he's thinking, but give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, 40 minutes, boys. Let's rotate around those pink boards.
He's used to playing at night, and it's obviously daytime on Summoner's Rift. You know, Nocturnal Plex. Perhaps he was blinded by the sun, or blinded by Imbolite on this Ari. She's a foxy lady. 3, 3, and 5.
Praise the sun, then. Hey.
Well, we do have a Thresh in the game, and along with the Lucian, those Dark Souls being picked up all over the place.
I like it. That was a nice tie-in. That was a nice tie-in. You got it.
Oh. It's got to the stage where this game's a little bit of a standstill, so I have a little bit longer to think about how I'm going to tie in some puns.
Yeah, right now it's definitely looking like the kill difference means almost 0, but the gold difference you're seeing there is quite significant.
8,000.
8,000 gold. It's mainly due to the Baron and their tower advantage. The kill advantage, they had this similar kill advantage previously, but it was only about a 4k gold difference, but it's just that massive Baron and tower advantage that the VG lineup have at this point in time. But remember, this is a Victor. The longer this goes, he can get that Rabadons as his last item, and then he'll be very scary. He should actually be able to do some serious damage, given a little bit of time, a little bit of space.
There's still no Aegis as well coming out from VG, so if he gets some of that damage down, it's going to help out a lot. I can understand there being no Aegis.
Ooh,
just saying it's not as much magic as you would like. Nizar does take a little bit of damage. Of course, they don't have the same sustain as you see it coming out from exceL with that Soraka hook onto VDS, though. He's going to get Cullings. He's going to go very low. Pops the Zhonya's. There's the wish from red movement. VDS going to dodge the charm, but exabyte gets charmed up there. Unstoppable Onslaught does come in, and it's Nocturnal Plex and Artorias versus the world. Prince Philip decimating smashes them all, and it looks like this is Verge's fight. You have to think they can keep pushing on this one. exabyte's going to go solo. Nocturnal Plex gets charmed. And Dan, the bear, the man, the legend, the Dan. And here comes Impolite as well onto exabyte and onto Red Movement. Red Movement not quite going to go down. But Dan picks up VDS and Verge Gaming. It's a hook. It's a kill. And Verge are going to push up for the inhibitor in mid lane. They're going to get top lane tower as well. 20 kills to 9.
They probably have the ability to finish the game. Maybe without Lucian, it might be a bit difficult. But there's only exabyte and Red Movement looking to defend here. So it'll be very difficult for them to defend against this this lineup. They're going to try their best though, as you're seeing right here.
The Thornmail on Dan is so big against exabyte as well. Prince Philip unstoppable onslaught. He will get the decimating smashdown onto exabyte though, and here comes the charm, here comes the stun, here comes the hook, and there goes the cork.
Yeah, they've only got 14 seconds to Artorias, and Flex are down, but what is going on, buddy?
I don't know. Just one of those days.
It's just one of those days.
Look at the push on the bot lane tower as well.
They're going to try their very best, but Artorias and Plex are now up and raring to go. VDS about to make his way up, and just seeing these poor caster minions. They're giving up their lives.
Here comes Gragas. He's going to drink them under the table. Takes down the minions.
There we go.
Half the damage on the inhibitor tower though, that's going to be helpful. Of course, inhibitor towers regenerate slower than they used to do.
Yeah,
so,
you can see from the exceL lineup that their teamfights are just a bit disjointed at this point in time. Right now, you've got Artorias and Plex diving in, and then no one from the exceL backline wants to commit because there's just a Scion sat in front of them. A Scion that they can't get through, and Dan who they can't get through. So the exceL damage dealers are just stuck at the back with Red Movement just not really having too much of a use because not enough damage is coming down for him to be useful.
Look at the chase here. Look at that. Explosive cost has popped, just a righteous glory coming out from both Prince Philip and from Dan. Pushes that Nocturnal Plex away. And now with Baron that's spawning, Mizar's going to start that one up. There's no vision in this area, I don't think, for exceL. Let's have a look. Nope, they see absolutely nothing at the moment.
They can't contest it anyway.
They're going to try. They're definitely going to try. Catches Impolite. Nope. Baron goes down, the culling across the wall. Here comes the unstoppable onslaught, and Warmonger Scion picks a fight once more with the drunk man in a bar. Nocturnal Plex taken quite low already. He's going to try and body slam across the wall, but there's Dan across the side. Definitely not Udyr. Is definitely not going to pick up this kill, because that's going to go to Udyr, who picks up the kill. He might have not. Well, definitely not Udyr. Definitely didn't pick up the kill. He picked up the kill. I tried to do something cool with the words, and it didn't work.
Anyway, exceL here are going to be on the back foot at this point in time. I think that the steal on Baron was ambitious. They're never going to be able to win a fight in that area, and actually just losing their jungler, even if they got the Baron, probably was going to lose in the game regardless. So you can see here it's going to have to be a miracle defense. Artorias gets locked up. He's going to go down.
The CC chain coming out from Verge is absolutely huge. VDS is going to go down. No, he pops the Zhonya's. A golden victor is not going to be the victor today. And for some reason it keeps doing that. I wasn't even touching any buttons. But let's pretend that that didn't happen. Red Movement is going to pretend this game didn't happen. He just about flashes away and survives. And the Soraka actually did okay for them. Just no CC in the late game really cost exceL here. No lives as well in the late game definitely cost them out. 25 kills to 9. Verge Gaming take the first game in this best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, it looked very, very close up until some just poor.
They were winning until they lost.
They were winning until they lost.
They were winning until they lost.
Unfortunately. But they weren't actually winning.
No, they were losing until they lost.
They were even
until they were losing, and then they lost at the end.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. But unfortunately, exceL just some poor teamfight decisions in that game, mainly due to some overstaying. Again, lanes just overstaying. That teamfight in the top lane where they managed to get Artorias drew so much pressure, they managed to get a kill onto Impolite, but then they overstayed, and Nizar managed to pick up a good chunk of gold, and then they lost that second Baron of the game. Unfortunately, just wasn't the right vein of action. We'll be going into our second game between exceL and VergeGG right now, and we'll get everyone into the lobby and ready to go. Pardon?
Soraka healed as much as, she healed for as much damage as any of the damage dealers did in that game.
Well, that's just the power of Soraka.
It's a very, very strong. I think the main problem, really, for exceL was they didn't have the CC. They had explosive cast.
They had a fair amount of CC.
Think about it. They had explosive cast.
Body slams, taunt.
Body slam.
Eclipse,
taunt.
if it lands.
Eclipse?
Yeah, it snares people.
Equinox, yeah, but that's after 2 seconds.
Yeah, but it's still a performance.
And then,
CC.
Yeah, but that's not a thresh.
Silence is technically a CC.
Okay, well, yeah, but it's not a thresh, is it? It's not a thresh. It's not a sign. It's not.
So what you're trying to tell me? What you're trying to tell me is they didn't have thresh.
They didn't. No, I'm trying to tell you they did not have enough CC to CC lock someone down, and their team comp relied on picking someone out.
Yeah, I guess. I think they actually played their team comp okay.
Yeah.
But the problem was that they just misplayed a couple of team fights, notably Nocturnal Plex jumping in the bot lane, getting himself isolated with no backup. In the top lane, when they just had Artorias take a lot of pressure in the bot lane, they managed to get a kill onto Imberlight, and like I said, they just gave up a load of kills by needlessly staying around, getting a little bit greedy and not respecting the dashes coming out from Lucian, and unfortunately it paid the price with Baron as well for it. And once they lost that Baron, it was very slippery slope, and there wasn't much way for them to get back into it. Anyway, we're going to be back in a very few minutes, guys. Shout out to AOC and SanDisk. They are year-long sponsors of ESL, and obviously to MCM, where the finals will be held. Stick around.